Hey, Frank.
How you doing, Jason?
Nice to meet you. I'm Jason. I'm store manager here at this location.
Okay.
Pardon the mess. I know we got truck today. We get a couple of trucks a week, so it's always interesting on truck days.
Is that hard to put up?
Yeah, it's not. It's not. It's just hardest part's just learning where everything is.
I got you. Well, I brought my resume. I think I just gave it to you.
You did. I appreciate that. I had a chance to look over it. Kind of liked what I saw.
Okay.
I do appreciate you taking the time to speak with me today. I know you're busy too. Couple of things I wanted to just to go over. Okay, just some preliminaries. First off, Frank, while I'll be doing this, I will take some notes. You know, I've got things that just help me remind myself later as I'm going through and reviewing the interview. And so if you see me pause, if you see me taking notes or anything, don't panic. Everything's good. I just have to make some notes for myself when I go back and
I got you.
Look back.
Hopefully they're good notes.
Okay. All right. So tell me a little bit about yourself. Tell me a little bit about your work history, education, those kind of things.
Well, I currently work at the home improvement warehouse down the road here. Been there for about 1.5 years, 2 years now, and I'm really doing sales, basically contract sales through there. But prior to that, I worked at Performance Auto, which is where me and my buddy Travis, we worked there for several years. We really enjoyed working there and wanting to get back into the auto parts side of it. The building business isn't great right now, so I want to kind of get back into the car business.
Yeah, I did a little bit with the building business myself, and it can it has its ups and downs, doesn't it?
It does. Also went to Missouri State where I got a degree in marketing.
I saw that.
So don't know that it'll be beneficial in car part sales, but you never know.
Well, every little bit helps.
Okay.
Every little bit helps. Looking back on your practice, you've talked about the home improvement warehouse, and you talked about Performance Auto. Frank, I want you to look back. I want you to tell me a couple of things, a couple of achievements that meant the most to you, that you're the most proud of. Tell me a little bit about them and how did they come about?
Okay. I learned a lot of selling at Performance Auto, but when my first month at the home improvement warehouse, we had a contest to see who could sell the most sheetrock, and I was able to sell almost 1 million sheets of sheetrock in the first month.
Outstanding.
That's a lot.
That is
but it helped that I got an apartment complex deal, but I won the contest, and know what they said, nobody ever sold 1 million sheets of sheetrock in a month. So.
I don't imagine that apartment complex just walked in and just gave you the order. Tell me a little bit about how you went about getting that order.
They were in several times, and I was talking to them, and once I realized that they were going to be a larger account, I really stuck with them, and really just kept continue asking them for the sale, because I knew eventually they would be working on the inside of the apartment complex, and we'd get that sale. And I knew it was a contest, so there's a little extra incentive there. Gotcha. And ended up winning $100 extra that month on my paycheck, which is pretty cool.
Outstanding. That always comes in handy, doesn't it?
It does.
All right. Looking back, Frank, you had John is listed as your last supervisor. Yep. We all get our ratings and different types of review. Each company's a little bit different. I understand that. But tell me about your last performance review. How do you feel like John rated you? How did he rate you? And what were some of the strengths that he noted for you, and some of the opportunities as well?
Well, I got a good. It's not really a number scale. It's either you good, you get a raise, or bad, you don't. So it was a good thing. He told me I talk too much. Sometimes I'm a talker, but that helps me sell. And I think if you know any kind of good salespeople, they love to talk. So overall, it was good. Got my raise, which is good. And I've had a raise the last 2 years there, which means I've been consistent there. It's either good or bad. There's no in between there.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Good deal. One of the biggest questions.
All right.
What's got you interested in working for Advance Auto Parts? We've got lots of competitors, Frank, up and down the strip out here. What made you think about Advance Auto?
Well, like I said, when me and my buddy Travis worked at Performance Auto, we were able to get a lot of stuff from you guys, and we really liked the atmosphere that you guys created. So I want to be part of that. I want to get in, get my feet in the door, and see what opportunities to transition my career back into the auto parts business.
Okay. Good deal. Good deal. All right, Frank. Generally, what I do in the interviews, and we'll go through different scenarios and questions. If at any time that there's a question you don't understand, please feel free to stop me and clarify. It's not a big deal if I may phrase it incorrectly.
Okay.
But just ask me, for clarification if need be. If not, I'm just going to let you go.
Okay.
Okay. And we'll kind of move through here, and I'll kind of guide you through the process. Okay.
Sounds good, Jason.
All right. First off, tell me about a time. Think about a time when you had a customer walk in, and we've all had them, that they made a request that really just it was unreasonable. Okay, what was the request that they made, and how did you ultimately satisfy that customer?
That's a good one, Jason. I'll go back to when I was at Home Improvement Warehouse. I'd probably been there about a year, and this guy came in and wanted his money back on his front door. I'd sold him a big cherry front door, and he wanted his money back. So I'm like, "Where's the door?" And he's like, "Man, you ain't getting the door back. I've got it installed. I just don't like it. I want my money back." So I told him no, and he left.
Ooh.
And that's as unreasonable as you can get.
True. It seems like it would be. Those cherry doors are not cheap.
They're not cheap.
What? So where did it ultimately? Did he just go?
No,
okay.
He came back the next day.
Did
Same
he?
request. So I sat down with him and said, "Hey, man, I can't give you your money back on your door if you don't bring me the door back."
Mm-hmm.
So I talked to him and said, "Why you want your money back?" He's like, his wife didn't like it at all, and they paid $4,000 for this door, and his wife was very unhappy with it. I think she was more unhappy with the price than the door. So just talking with him, I offered to give some of his money back because he was a regular in there, but he wanted me to give his money back on the entire door and then keep the door. So I gave him. We ended up giving like 20% off the door, and he still shops with us today.
So ultimately, he was happy with it.
I think he was.
More
happier.
importantly, his wife was happy.
I think
with it?
he was happier than his wife was, but he continued to shop with us and he got
Okay.
his money back.
All right.
The 20% back.
Okay, good deal. All right. Okay. I want you to describe a time for me when you weren't pleased with your own performance. In other words, we all live up to try to live up to the expectations of our supervisors, but maybe a time when you didn't live up to your own expectations. Tell me a little bit about that. What did you do to improve that?
Going back at Performance Auto, I was going through a rough time in my personal life, and it really affected me at work. I'd come into work, I would just be drab it probably went on for 2 weeks solid, and I was just miserable at work, and it was because of all my issues at home,
Sure.
and I was letting it affect me at work. So I was very unhappy with my performance. I wasn't selling good. I wasn't hitting my numbers at all. And it was a rough time in my life, but it's better now.
Okay. So did you move past it? Got everything worked out?
Yeah, well, it didn't work out the way I wanted to, but it worked out.
Sure.
But I was able to get my head on straight and come back to work, and my boss sat me down and said, "Look, man, something's got to give. You either got to start picking up and leaving the stuff at the front door." And we did. I had a good heart-to-heart with my boss, and he told me that I better start selling and improving, or I would be buying from them as a customer.
Yeah.
So I really stepped it up and realized that I'd left too much on the table.
Gotcha.
So I went back and really worked.
How's your sales performance?
Then or now? Oh, it's great now. I'm happy as I've ever been in my personal life, which affects my work life to that sense, because I can sell very well. And like I said earlier, he told me I talk too much.
That's all right. Frank, tell me about a time. Every company's got policies,
Right.
Some are popular policies, some not so popular. But I want you to tell me about a time when you followed company policies, even though maybe your coworkers didn't. Okay, how did you handle that situation?
Well, at Home Improvement Warehouse, I'm the supervisor over the lumber yard, and anytime we get in our forklifts, even though they have a cage on them, we got to wear a hard hat. So I wear my hard hat every day because, man, I don't want to get hit upside the head. I got too much to lose inside there.
Gotcha.
And my coworkers, man, none of them wear their hard hats, and it irritates me.
Okay. Tell me a little bit more. Has anything ever happened as far as safety related? That's
Well, not at our store, but I remember one time a 2x4 went through the cage and hit this dude in the head, and they really, after that, they implemented this policy where you got to wear the hard hats inside the cages, because that everybody thinks, well, you got a cage, you don't need a hard hat.
Yeah.
But this 2x4 somehow went through one of the holes and hit this dude in the head. He was okay, but he had a pretty good knot.
Scary
on his head.
moment, I'm
Yeah.
sure. What about
my
your
other guys? They think nothing's gonna happen to them. They're invincible. So I've tried talking to them, but I don't know. Maybe since I'm the boss, I need to just put some force to it or something, because they just don't want to wear their hard hats.
Okay, you're starting off by leading by example.
Yeah, man, I wear mine every day because, like I said, I got too much to lose in there.
good. That's a good example to set. If you're going to have those guys doing that kind of thing, then they need to be looking at you, for the lead. All right. One of my favorite topics during the interview process is selling skills. Obviously, we've already talked, and you're very well versed in selling. So what I want you to tell me about, this is an opportunity for you to brag on yourself. Okay. Tell me about a time when you were successful in getting someone to buy something that they didn't originally think they wanted, or more importantly, that they didn't originally think they needed. Okay. How were you able to lead them through the sales process and sell them the project that they actually, everything they did need?
Okay. I'm going to go back to when me and Travis ran Performance Auto. I had a guy come in and replace the entire front end on his Camaro. He bought radiators, clips, everything. I mean, he was doing the entire job on this thing. And he'd been restoring it for a long time, and he bought everything but the rear end from me. And that was it. I mean, so he'd really bought everything. So when he was in the store, I was like, man, you need to replace that rear end. It's going to be, you got everything else done but the rear end. So we talked about it, and he's like, well, let me think on it. But that was going to be like a $2,200 sale if I could sell him that rear end to go with the rest of the car. So he was a regular in there. Like I said, he'd replaced everything on the entire car except for the rear end. So he comes back about a week later. He's like, man, you talked me into it. I'm going to replace the rear end. He bought the bearings, everything, the seals, everything to go with it. Now I just need to sell him a set of tires, and we'd done well. I'd had everything but the tires. But
there you go.
Like I said, we replaced everything on that thing.
Good. I have to ask, what your Camaro was?
It was a 68. It was sharp.
Oh my goodness. All right. Okay, this is the time to show off a little bit here. Going to take me through some technology. With this being an auto parts environment, I do have to ask some, try to see what your knowledge is on some of the basics, of the car. What I want you to do is just kind of, when I list the system, all right, you tell me some of the major components and kind of describe for them how they work. It doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to be down to the millimeter, but just so I can get kind of an idea of your expertise level.
I don't know a whole lot, but I know a little.
Okay, that's not a problem. We'll run through it and we'll see what we got.
Okay.
Tell me about the brake system.
Well, you've got your rotors and your calipers and your master cylinders and your boosters. I've changed lots of brakes. That they all work in proportion together is how the fluid goes through. That's probably my best category overall, but I mean, we could go through and I can name every spring, every front brakes, rear brakes, whatever you want to know. I'm your brake guy.
Outstanding. So you've been through them. Tell me, just as an example on rotors, if somebody came in to buy a set of rotors, and what would you recommend?
Well, I'd really ask them what it's doing. Why do they think they need rotors? I mean, if they bring it in and it's grooved all to pieces, I mean, you just give them a new rotor and say, here you go. I mean, but if they start saying, well, my car's shaking when I hit my brakes, I'd recommend the rotor's possibly warped. If it's pulling to one side, you could have a warped rotor there. I mean, there's several different things. You just got to ask the questions to figure out what it is.
Okay, good deal. What about the engine?
Well, I know a little bit. There's a crankshaft in the middle that turns some pistons, but I never rebuilt one. There's some sensors on the top, but I don't know exactly which sensors do what. Can't say that. That's one of my strongest categories.
Gotcha. Well, and everybody's got their strengths, and everybody. That's one of the reasons we have a tremendous training program here. So if we're able to bring you on, you'd have ample opportunity to train, as well as some of the other team members, or some of them have got strong suits that you'd be able to feed off of.
Okay. Well, that's good.
Tell me about air conditioning. What about that air conditioning system?
It's cold.
Hopefully, right?
Yeah, hopefully. This is my weakest category. I mean, literally, I can turn it on in the car, and that's about it. I mean, I know nothing about air conditioning. Otherwise, I know you got to add Freon sometime, but don't know where it goes in. I know I turn on the switch inside, and I got air conditioning seats in my car, and those work well.
Well, there you go. I wish I had those. What about the cooling system? What are some of the major components?
This is one of my better categories. The radiator, you got your thermostat, your water pump. Your water pump circulates it through the engine, puts it through the radiator to cool it. Overall, it extends the life of the engine.
Okay. there again, back to like the brake example. If somebody came in and they were buying, they said, I need a new radiator. What are some of the things that you might recommend for them to complete that project, like you did with the Camaro?
You got to sell them the radiator hoses, the clamps that go with it. You got your antifreeze can go in it, a new radiator cap. I know I bought a radiator about 2 years ago, and radiator caps don't come with them no more. So now you got to charge.
It's not the first time I've heard that.
So now you got to pay extra for a radiator cap. So you got to sell them radiator cap. I'd sell them some good flush to go in it. I mean, flush out the whole engine. Like I said, cooling and brakes is probably my top 2 categories.
Okay, fantastic. What about last one's the starting and charging systems? What's your comfort level with those?
They're mediocre. You got a battery and alternator. I put both those on before. I've never done a starter. I know the alternator keeps the battery charged after the starter starts it. Alternator, if you got any accessories or anything like that, alternator will keep that battery running so you can run all that. Mm-hmm. Never put a starter on though.
Okay. So you have done the batteries before. What are some issues? Just tell you, my wife, her idea is to get in, start the car, and go.
Right.
So what are some things that we're dealing with this? Some of the things you would look for in a battery if you happen to be out there with a customer?
A lot of times corrosion builds up on it, and I always used to pour Coke on it, but they say you're not supposed to do that no more. So a lot of times you got corrosion build up, you can clean that, or you can sell them some cleaning stuff. I don't know. Do y'all clean them for them, or do you sell them for make the customer clean?
A lot of times we'll provide that service, but we actually have we've got a few products out here that we always recommend for our customers that that are when they're buying a new battery or perhaps not ready for a new one, but they they have some maintenance issues.
Okay.
Okay. All right, Frank. Once again, I appreciate your time and your patience today. I want to go through and close out with just a few more questions, just in general, okay? First off, do you have any more questions, any questions about the interview process or anything like that we've done today?
No, it's been pretty straightforward, and you've done some good questions. I appreciate that.
Okay. All right. Now, we had discussed earlier about availabilities.
Right.
All right. Looking at your availabilities that you have listed on your resume, I see second shift, I see holidays, weekends, and that you do have some schedule restrictions. Are you planning on staying on at the home improvement warehouse?
Well, if I can get full time here and it pays enough, I could probably leave home improvement at warehouse. Mm-hmm. But I'm not against work. I work at home improvement warehouse Monday through Friday, 7 to 5. Okay. So I can work anytime in the evenings, holidays, weekends, nights, whatever. But I was really looking for full time.
I got you. I understand, and most people are, and understandably so.
Yeah.
With your availabilities, I don't necessarily have a full-time position, Frank, but I do have some outstanding part-time opportunities for us. This is a great part-time job, just for the simple fact of the flexibility, and it's a great working environment. We've got a great team here at 3550. So,
can I get full-time afterwards?
There's always that possibility.
Okay.
We have some full-time positions here, depending on you, depending on your sales ability, depending on your work ability. Someone can work themselves up into any one of our positions, from either just regular full-time or perhaps a retail parts pro, commercial parts pro. The advancement potential of Advanced Auto Parts is outstanding, so there would always be that possibility with you, even if you started out working 10 hours a week.
I got you.
Okay.
Well, that's something that could be good. I think I could do part-time.
All right. Moving on to the next one, the one thing I always cover, and it's just in interest of fairness and equity across the board, we do have an attendance policy.
Right.
I can provide that to you and let you look over it, but it's very important. As far as in our stores, each position, each hour that we have on the schedule is critical to our success. So
that shouldn't be an issue. In 3 years at Home Improvement Warehouse, I've only missed 1 day. So
outstanding.
I'm here to work. I know that. So.
Doesn't sound like that would even be an issue.
So.
I will tell you that once we, if we are able to make an offer to you, it is contingent upon a successful background and drug screen.
Okay.
We do that here. So once that's done, then I would be able to make a call to you and get you on board. Okay.
Okay.
like I said, thanks for taking the time to meet me today. I know it's a chunk out of your day.
When will I hear something?
Generally, what I'll do is I've got a few more interviews to do.
Okay.
With today being Tuesday, I plan on making a job offer to my candidate on Friday.
Okay.
Okay.
So I'll hear
But
from you by Friday?
either way, whether you do or whether you don't, I will make contact with you and let you know.
All right.
All right.
Thank you, Jason.
Thank you, Frank.
Appreciate it.
All right.
See you
Thank
later.
you.